is up, Chuggernauts? Welcome in. It's the Gridiron Chuggers wild card weekend all wrapped up. We've got my boy Juke and Josh in the building.
What it do?
Lock it in, Lando, back at it.
Yes, sir.
And your boy Big Flex X. We're on to the divisional round now. But before we do, big shout out to Brett Maher for rewriting NFL history. A record 4 missed extra points. Come on.
Wow.
Yeah, these weren't even regular field goals. These were gimmies, extra points after amazing touchdowns. And this man missed 4.
Hell yeah. Shout out to Jerry Jones for being a real one and saying that he's still sticking with the team moving forward. Because I think I'd be looking for a new kicker.
Yeah, but I think he's just going to ride with it through playoffs. But I expect us to look for a new kicker next year off of that one game alone.
Oh, hell yeah. But we'll be touching on it for sure. But Lando, go ahead and let us know what we got in store for us today.
Man, we got a lot for y'all today. We have first half. We're going to be going over some bets, some spreads over this divisional round. Make sure you're making some money. Second half, we're going to do a little mock draft and figure out who's at the top of the boards and who we need to draft in fantasy coming up. This stuff's important.
Hell yeah. So don't go anywhere. We're just getting started. Make sure you guys follow and subscribe to us on YouTube and Instagram at Gridiron Chuggers. We're also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Click the link in our bio. It'll take you straight to a winning fantasy season and even maybe a bigger bank account. Come on. But without further ado, the countdown to kickoff starts now.
So this week we had some pretty crazy wild card games. Last week we gave you guys our money line picks. Just want to go over that record real quick. So Lando was the loser for last week, coming in at 3-3. So wasn't his best week, but let's be real. These playoffs were pretty insane.
Hey, still 500. Come on.
Hey, that's still 500. That's positive.
Come on.
So you take half these bets, you're going to win something. But I followed up with a 4-2 record, and then Xavier, the little Nostradamus he is, 5-1, really turning it around after the regular season betting.
Oh, hell yeah. Use Nostradamus in a sentence, my boy.
Nostradamus is a person that was able to predict the future from the Greek era.
Oh, damn. Well, look at me go. Hell yeah. I appreciate the compliment, my boy.
Not a problem. But to give you a recap of what these games were, we started off with the Seahawks versus the Niners. And man, I think the refs were keeping this game slow for the first half because the Niners came out after the second half and just whooped that ass. Score wound up being 41-23, like we all expected. Niners, complete domination. Next up was a real doozy for everyone to watch, seeing as the Chargers led the way for, I think, 70% of the game. Chargers versus Jags, that score wound up being 31-30. Jags winning it by 1 point off of a field goal. So,
yeah,
holy moly.
Absolutely
holy moly
insane.
For sure. Dude, big shout out to Trevor Lawrence, man. I mean, rewriting NFL history as well. You're talking 4 interceptions in the first half, still comes back and wins the football game. I mean, this boy's up to something.
Can we just talk about how Trevor Lawrence is still undefeated on Saturdays?
For his entire football career ever?
His entire career.
His life, damn.
Yeah,
Back to 6th grade, ban him.
Fifth grade, or 4th grade out in the playground kind of thing. You don't take us.
I mean, it was insane, but I really do have to blame this loss on the coaching staff. Was pretty disappointed to see they decided to hold on to Brandon Staley. And I think he made the offensive coordinator and the QB coach the fall guy when ultimately I think it was his play calling. Next up,
that was the most Chargers thing to do, is blow a 30-point lead.
Yeah, no, it was absolutely bananas. I'm pissed for Justin Herbert. I feel bad for the guy. Next up was the Dolphins at Bills, and I think this was a lot closer than anyone had expected it to be. Bills still wound up winning with 34-31 being the score, but they really should not have had this close of a game against a third string quarterback. I mean, what are y'all's thoughts on that one?
I'll tell you what, Mike McDaniels is the real deal, and the Dolphins are not going away for some time. I think these Dolphins are about to turn up pretty dang good. So I'm pretty excited about that. But Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen looking sloppy. Kind of disappointed with that. I thought that they were going to come out here and actually take over. But on to next week. A win is a win. Come on.
Yep. Next up was the game that really decided the NFC. We had the Giants versus Vikings, 31-24 in favor of the Giants. Now, we told you guys, primetime Kirk does not play well. And man, were we right? He just could not get the ball moving for a majority of the game. But Danny Dimes and Saquon Barkley just running through everyone like the dynamic duo we know them to be. Next up, we had the Ravens versus the Bengals. This was also a closer game than expected, but of course, Bengals came out on top. There's nothing you can do when you have that many weapons, and you compare it to the Ravens, who didn't even have their starting quarterback, and they also made some bad play calls by not utilizing their mean running back, J.K. Dobbins, who also actually took shots at the organization.
Yeah, I actually saw him post, if Lamar Jackson played, we win this game.
Damn.
Which that's a true statement. He also said if he got the ball on the 1 yard line, they win the game. This was a bad play call. I don't think Tyler Huntley should have been reaching the ball. Hubbard, shout out to Hubbard for the 98-yard fumble recovery touchdown. This was a fun one to watch, but the Ravens were a Hail Mary tip away from tying this game and going into overtime. It literally hit his fingertips.
This kind of reminded me of when Russ and that Seahawks team decided to go ahead and throw it at I think it was 4th and 1 when you have Beastquake in the back. Like, why would you not use him?
You're also going against one of the best defenses ever on Patriot history.
Yeah, you don't pass against them in the red zone. You give it off to arguably the best running back of that time. But that's what we saw with the Ravens. Didn't utilize their run game correctly, and it definitely bit them in the butt. Next up, I think my reverse mush worked. I said the Cowboys were going to lose this one. I did that in hopes of them proving me wrong. And
hell yeah,
did they go out there and show the entire world that we were wrong.
My boy got his jersey on, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I did it on purpose. I had to say they're going to lose. I had to put that energy out there so they could prove me wrong. The score wound up being 31-14 against the Buccaneers. And the score shows it was a pretty large margin between the game. But if you watched it, man, the Cowboys on both sides of the ball were just completely dominant. I've never seen TB be able to do absolutely nothing all game.
Hell yeah. I was right there with you, my boy. I was trying to jinx the game, and I'm so glad I did. It was a fun one, though. I'm glad I got to watch that and watch Dak Prescott pretty much do everything everybody was complaining about last week. They were talking trash about him, but he came out this week and balled out 300-plus yards, 4 tutties, 1 rushing. Beautiful.
Well, yeah, dude. The thing is, I mean, Brady's been playing like this all season. Every game he's had to come back almost, except that Panthers game. But Brady's been playing from behind all season. He was able to get a few dubs, make it into the playoffs. It was not enough for this Cowboys team that came to play. I mean, and you look at it, this is the Cowboys' first win in playoffs in a long time. So this is exciting, man. They're moving on to the divisional, and they could take this thing pretty far.
Excited to see what pans out. But speaking of the divisional round, these are the matchups we have for you guys this week. So we're going to start it off with these AFC teams. Starting it off, we have the Jags versus Chiefs. Let me give you the money line, spread, and all the information on betting so you can make the best choice for yourself. So to start it off, we have an 8.5-point spread on the Chiefs-Jaguars game. And then on the money line, Jacksonville Jaguars coming in as a heavy underdog at plus 350. Chiefs heavy favorite at minus 450 with a 52.5 point over under. So we're going to go over the spread, seeing as we feel like there's a little bit more money to be made there compared to the money line this week. So Xavier, give me your spread take for this game.
All right, we got the Jags going up against the Chiefs. Chiefs minus 8.5. I'm just going to be straight up here. I am locking in Chiefs minus 8.5. I have to do it. Chiefs, last time these guys faced off, they won 27-17. That was back in week 10. And Patrick Mahomes threw for 4 touchdowns. And if you're talking about Patrick Mahomes versus Trevor Lawrence, I'm taking Patrick Mahomes every single day of the week. And on top of that, the Jacksonville Jaguars have been starting off slow in the last 2 contests they had. Going up against Tennessee, they had a couple 3-and-outs to begin the game. And then now you're talking about the Chargers last week giving up 3 interceptions in the first quarter. So I think if the Jags start off slow, this thing is going to be a blowout. Won't even be close. And that might be what happens this week. I'm locking in Chiefs minus 8.5.
Lando?
Jeez.
Lock it in.
Chiefs 8.5. This is a fun spread right here because what do? The Jags are coming off resiliency, coming back from down 27 points. But I'm going to have to agree with X on this one. This is playoff Patty, MV Patty. And I just think he goes out there, gets it done, throws 35 on the board, and the Jags are stuck at like 17. So we're going to have to take the spread. I think this is going to be an ugly one, and the Chiefs are ready to win another Super Bowl.
Sounds like we have a squad ride, guys, here.
That was quick, huh?
Yeah, this is not only is Patty Mahomes probably one of the best quarterbacks any of us will ever watch on TV, but you also have to factor in this defense compared to that Chargers defense. The Chiefs are currently a top 10 defense. I don't think they let them come back in the fashion that the Chargers did. Not only that, you have one of the best head coaches to ever touch the field out there as well, making sure they don't go through issues like the Chargers saw. So definitely got to take the Chiefs here. If they can't keep it going from the start, and by them, I mean the Jacksonville Jaguars, if they aren't hot from the first minute of the game, I think this one's going to run away from them pretty quick. So we have a full squad ride. You better bet on the Chiefs as well.
Yeah, one thing I want to throw out there, too, is I think Andy Reid and Doug Peterson, they know each other very well. I mean, Doug Peterson's pretty much a byproduct of what Andy Reid created, and he took over the Eagles back then. So I think these guys know each other very well, but I still think Andy Reid is just a GOAT.
I mean, burgers on the sideline. Can't go wrong.
Andy Reid is having fun. The Chiefs are having fun. I don't know if y'all saw the play where they were in the huddle and they're all moving around in a circle.
You talking about
Ring around the Rosie, baby.
All of a sudden, they get set, throw a touchdown, and it gets called back. But this is why we love the Chiefs. They're fun, they're flavorful. They go out there and they intimidate the other team. How could you not be intimidated?
Disrespectful.
They don't need Tyreek.
They don't. Juju's become the possession receiver they need. And I actually, even though I'm not a huge fan of him, I see him being signed back next year. But so that was the Chiefs Jacksonville Jaguars game. Next up for the AFC, we have a doozy. The Cincinnati Bengals against the Buffalo Bills, coming in with a 4.5-point spread in favor of the Bills. And then it is a plus 190 money line where the Cincinnati Bengals are the underdog, Buffalo Bills minus 230 favorites, and a 48.5-point over under. Lando, lock something in.
Okay, the spread is at, you said 4.5?
Yup.
This is a tough game. I really like what the Bengals have been putting together. The problem with me here is Josh Allen has been turning the ball over, and it hasn't been pretty. I'm talking about it against the Dolphins with the third-string quarterback. This was a close game, and the Bills barely hung on. I'm going to have to take the Bengals at plus 4.5. Not saying they win it all, even though they could, but 4.5 is a lot for a team that has too many turnovers. You're talking Josh Allen, who has 14 turnovers, interceptions, and plenty of fumbles lost. But we're locking in the Bengals plus 4.5 right here. I think they can do it.
Bengals.
X, what you feeling?
Yeah, man. I'm on Lando's side right now. I'm locking in the Bengals plus 4.5 as well. And I'm also not saying that the Bengals win this football game. I'm just saying that 4.5 is also like it is a lot. But if you think about it, the Bengals started off really hot a couple weeks ago when these guys faced off. Obviously, we only saw the first quarter until DeMar Hamlin went down. But Joe Burrow took the football and drove the football 7 plays down the field to score a touchdown. I think that's exactly what we're going to see coming into this game. They're going to start off hot. Bengals defense is going to take a little bit to get to make some stops. Plus, on the other side of the ball, the Bengals defense has been balling, and they're getting hot at the right time. This is playoff time right now. Josh Allen's throwing turnovers. I think this is a perfect time for the defense to take advantage of that. I like the Bengals plus 4.5.
Well, dude, for me, this is all coming down to, we know they can both pass the ball. They're going to throw the ball 40, 50 times each. It comes down to the running backs. Who can get these first downs on 3rd and 3 and make sure they set their team up? We're talking Joe Mixon had 210 carries this year for 814 yards. But Devin Singletary had 30 less carries at 277 for 819 yards. So on 30 less carries, Devin Singletary's got more yards. This is going to be a close one, man. Who can run the ball this game?
So this was this is obviously a really hard game to pick between because I see these teams as neck and neck. Truthfully, I take away the money line. I take away the point spread. These teams are almost exactly the same. Now, Josh Allen has had a problem turning over the ball, but that's exactly why I'm taking the Buffalo Bills this week. I think after his abysmal week last week against the Dolphins, who technically have a better defense than the Bengals. Bengals just have a really good secondary. I'm going to take the Bills here. Josh Allen's definitely going to have to clean up and make sure he doesn't turn the ball over. And I think he's going to do that by utilizing some of his other targets and actually going through his progressions instead of trying to rush the ball. That's one of the things we've seen some of these quarterbacks do. Once they mess up, they get flustered and they start trying to push it when they don't need to, and they have the time to make the throw. So I'm taking the Bills here at minus 4.5. It's going to be a really close game. I think they're going to be TD for TD the entire way.
Hell yeah. Well, let's hope he doesn't overcompensate like Brett Maher did on those field goals.
Shoot, I don't even know if that was overcompensation. That man just got the yips.
The yips.
Next up is our NFC teams. At the beginning of the year, everyone said the NFC weak. Well, this playoffs is showing you it's the NFC beast, man. We have the New York Giants going up against the Philadelphia Eagles. This is a 7.5 point spread. The Giants are heavy underdogs at plus 295, so that money line is quite tempting. Philadelphia Eagles are the favorites at minus 370 with a 48.5 point over under. This is a hard one to bet on because, man, we saw the Giants do some stuff they were not supposed to do by being in playoffs. I'm tempted to take them again, but I'm going to rely on Jalen Hurts. He's coming back. He will be healthy, and I think that's going to be the difference maker here. They're going to be able to run it, air it out to A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith. I think Eagles should easily take this one, no questions asked.
Boom. So you're locking in minus 7.5, yeah?
Yep.
Nice. I gotta agree with you here, man. I'm locking in minus 7.5. We're talking Jalen Hurts coming back. Yes, he is off. He's coming off an injury, but he did have 2 weeks to heal. Luckily, they got that bye week. I mean, they did earn it, but they got that bye week. So shout out to Jalen Hurts. I think he's going to do pretty good, and I think this is what slows down the Giants' defense is that dual threat quarterback. If you got that dual threat quarterback, that's what's going to get him to slow down Dexter. Dexter Lawrence won't be able to get to the quarterback as quick because he's going to have to think about what's actually happening out on the field. So that's one plus about having Jalen Hurts. Number two is the last time these two teams met up, Jalen Hurts was playing the backups and didn't look so great. But then the time before that, obviously, because they played twice in a year, the final score was 48-22. The Philadelphia Eagles literally handed it to the Giants. So I think they can do it again. I think the Eagles defense is way better than the Vikings defense we saw last week. Daniel Jones is playing great. Saquon Barkley is playing great. But this defensive line and this secondary of the Eagles are just way too good. And they are way better than what the Vikings put out there last week. I'm locking in Eagles -7.5.
Eagles, man, I like it. This is where it gets tricky. You know, for a money line or a spread to be at -7.5, that's sketch for me. Vegas is telling me something. But we look at it, you got the Eagles third in total offense with over 400 yards per game, but they're also giving up the least amount of passing yards this whole season at 179 passing yards per game allowed. This is really good, y'all. I mean, you have Daniel Jones who's looking to pass the ball, but it looks like he's not going to be able to against this defense. So I'm going down to the division record. This is a division game technically. The Giants are 1-4 on division games. So I do like the Eagles in this one. This one's obvious, but I'm actually going to buy a point. I'm going to take this at -6.5, just in case that they win by one touchdown and you don't cover on half a point. I'm buying the point. I'm taking this at -6.5 for the Eagles.
Very nice. I love to see it.
That's our first NFC game. The next up is the Dallas Cowboys against the San Francisco 49ers. Battle of the Super Bowl teams, at least historically anyway. We saw Brock Purdy come out there and put on an absolute show. 3 touchdowns, 336 yards, and a rushing touchdown. Like, come on, what can you do to stop him?
Dude, this is going to be crazy, my boy. I'm excited for this game. And I know I said last week that I chose the Bucs because I wanted to, because I am superstitious and I wanted to change I wanted to jinx it pretty much. And it did work. But after watching the Cowboys last week, I think I am fully confident in saying that I'm going to take this +4 right now with the Dallas Cowboys.
+3.
I think. Is it +3?
Yep. Let me give you the.
Oh, +3. The lines have changed, eh?
Yep. Let me give you the odds real quick. So right now it is a 3-point spread with a 46.5 point over and under. And then the Dallas Cowboys are the underdog at +148. San Francisco 49ers are the favorite at -176.
Well, that is good to see. Earlier today, the Dallas Cowboys were at +4, but apparently Vegas thinks that the Cowboys actually have a decent shot here. So they're giving them +3. And the biggest thing to kind of note here is that if you have home field advantage, you're automatically given 3 points. Mm-hmm. So for that to be the case, they pretty much don't know how this game is going to go. They think it's going to be super close. That line changing a little bit kind of gives me the heebie-jeebies, But I think I got to lock in the +3 Dallas Cowboys still. Dak Prescott +300 yards last week. Brock Purdy +300 yards. So this is going to come down to who runs the football the best. And I like Christian McCaffrey over there, but I think the Dallas Cowboys are ready for that. They're going to stop Christian McCaffrey and put the ball in Brock Purdy's hands and make him make a play. He's a rookie. He can mess up at any time. So he has to come down at some time, And as for the Dallas Cowboys, their offensive line is starting to get healthy. They played very good against a solid defensive line, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I'm pretty excited about that. I got to lock in the Cowboys +3.
Damn.
This is a hard one. I do want to jinx the game again, see if it works in my favor. But from what
I'll tell you, well, my bad. I'll tell you one thing. I felt a lot more confident at +4.
Yeah, I definitely did too. But after, the real confidence booster was just seeing how composed this team was last week. I was really shocked to see Dak Prescott actually go through his reads, his progression, and hold the ball for the right amount of time instead of trying to force it unnecessarily when he gets flustered and doesn't make that pass. So that was great to see. Now, this 49ers defense is really stout. I think that's our biggest worry is if they are able to capitalize off of bad decision making. That being said, I think the Cowboys defense will also be able to capitalize off of a rookie's bad decision making. It's getting into crunch time and the lights are getting brighter. We don't know what Brock Purdy is going to do, but I do think there winds up being an interception this week. One thing I'm hoping for, though, is Micah Parsons and Dorrance Armstrong did have minor little injuries during the game. That is something I kind of watch out for and look at in practice, make sure they are fully healthy by the time this game swings around. But I'm agreeing with X here, taking the Cowboys. Hopefully we don't mush this.
Taking the spread, the +3 sounds like I'm going to have to figure something out over here. Okay. We got San Francisco 49ers, the #1 defense in the league, and I feel like it's by far. They're giving up the least amount of points per game, sitting at 16, although we saw Jarrett Stidham put up 34 on them. This is just wild, man. You know, the 49ers are 8-1 at home. Brock Purdy's got 108 quarterback rating. That's in the top 3 right now. So this 49ers team is lethal with one of the best running backs in the league. I just feel like the Cowboys get this done. I think you need to look out for CeeDee Lamb. We're looking at 8 to 12 catches out of CD this game. I just feel something. They've been on fire lately. So I think Brock Purdy finally slows down after this crazy win streak. I don't know if y'all knew, but they did win 10 games in a row to end the season. So they got to finish this at some point. They're not going to do this all season. This is not – I don't feel like this is a Super Bowl team. How is Brock Purdy going to take them to the Super Bowl? Cowboys got to finish it right here. And if they don't, I am a Brock Purdy fan. I'll buy a jersey.
Hey, that's actually the hardest jersey to get right now. He is the #1 seller at the moment and also has the most expensive cards right now.
Yeah, man, the dude looked up to Dan Marino and just passed one of his records. So, you know, shout out to Brock Purdy. But Cowboys, I hope you've been watching film.
Hell yeah. Are we buckling up our seatbelts right now?
Uh-oh.
Buckle?
Is that what I think it is?
Squad ride.
Blast off, baby.
We're taking the Cowboys.
So that is all of our bets for this divisional round. At least on the spread anyway. We still have some player props and anytime TDs to go over. Lando, why don't you take us into it?
Oh, let's get it. This is one of my favorite segments, is making money, because that's just what we do. I don't know if you were here last week, but I want to do a quick recap of what was happening. We had a crazy parlay, 2+ touchdowns from Austin Eckler and Jamar Chase. We were 1 touchdown away from smacking 2,700, but guess what? We won our Tom Brady, over 274 pass yards. Big Flex X locked some in, hit some money lines. What else did you hit, Big Flex?
Man, okay, so I had a 4-legger parlay, so I really busted on both of my picks that I had. I had Josh Allen to rush the ball in for a touchdown, missed. I had a 4-leg parlay. We were almost there. It came down to the wire. We had the Bills money line, cash. Cincinnati Bengals money line, cash. All right. And then we had the over on the Jags and Chargers, cash.
Money.
Now, final leg of the parlay, we're almost there. It's a close game. The line is getting close. This is the Giants and Vikings game. I'm talking down to the wire, fourth quarter, 3 minutes left. Giants kick a tying field goal to hit the line at 48 flat. And the line is at 48 and a half. I took the under. Somebody's got to score to win the game. After they hit that field goal, that tying field goal, I knew I lost it. It was a close one, but we're coming back this week. We're making a nice little comeback. Come on.
Sounds like you had a good day, though. It's always one leg short on those parlays, man.
Yeah, one leg too many. Come on.
Now, Jukum Josh had some picks. I know he cashed one of them last week. What did you hit? I know you had some.
Actually, none of my hit. So we really got screwed over by the refs.
What happened last week, Jukum?
Dude, it wasn't me. It was the refs, okay? They took the second touchdown away from CMC. I know you guys saw it on the camera. That man definitely crossed the end zone on the second one.
Bro, that was so devastating for you, man. I was watching it, and I was rooting for you.
You know what's dumb, though? Tell me why they said they have a chip in the damn ball to track where it's at. But they can't use that. They still have to do this shit with the chains and some dumbass ref to decide it. I'm pissed.
I'll be fair with you though. It might have been short. And if it was short, I don't know why they didn't give the ball back to Christian McCaffrey. He's gonna punch it in.
Yeah, I mean inches. Come on.
He deserves that. He deserves that stat. Like Brock Purdy did nothing for that rushing touchdown. They should have gave it to CMC.
Yeah, I mean, he was the focal point of the game, but we also had Saquon miss the first touchdown, but he was a explosive part of this team. I think he had one, and then he was so close.
Bro, he wasn't the first touchdown. He was the second touchdown.
Yep.
Why didn't you lock the second touchdown in?
Well, they don't have it as an option, sadly.
No, I'm playing. Here's the best part about it, man. Here's the best part about it. We get to lock in new picks. Make up for what happened last week with crazy wild card madness. But Jukum Josh, I know you've been researching. You've been making sure that these locks are A+. What you got for the people?
Okay, so with Juju coming in, he has become a focal part of this offense. It's basically Travis Kelce, number one, Juju, number two. He is their true possession receiver out on the field. Whereas Kadarius Toney is, the explosive player. But I'm taking anytime touchdown for Juju Smith at plus 165. I feel like that's a lock. It is almost guaranteed with how good this game is going to wind up being. And I think Patty is so good at dispersing this ball. It's only a matter of time before he gets it. 4 quarters is plenty of time for him to be able to get one in. Next up, I am taking Josh Allen. Now, this one, I'm going to admit, is a little ballsy, but with these two big teams, Bengals, Bills, it's going to be a lot of passing. So I'm going to take Josh Allen at 300 plus yards for plus 198.
Sheesh.
Hey, we saw Brock Purdy do 330. Shoot, I know Josh Allen can.
Okay, I see you.
That's a lot.
It is, but they're going to have to air it out. Both of these teams just air it out.
All right, y'all. So if you heard it here first, we got a Juju anytime touchdown. Jukum Josh is locking in Juju at plus 165. He just needs to get in the end zone. He's also locking in Josh Allen. 300 plus pass yards in this game. That's for plus 198. If you lock them in, you're making some money. Big Flex X. We got more money on the table. How are you spending it?
More money. I ain't spending. I'm making. Come on. We got Travis Kelce. I got to lock this one in. I'm locking Travis Kelce. By the way, when I say these picks, I'm locking in both of them on the same game just because I know this game is going to be high scoring and these guys are going to hit. I love to see it. Travis Kelce, anytime touchdown score, minus 145. It's kind of a difficult line to bet on just because it's so low, but at the same time, you're going to cash regardless. Travis Kelce is a focal point of this offense. Travis Mahomes, or what the fuck? Patrick Mahomes.
Hey, that's a shirt. That's a new T-shirt right there.
Hey, I'm branding it. Come on. But yeah, Patrick Mahomes, last time these guys faced off against the Jaguars, put up 4 touchdowns. I don't see why Travis Kelce wouldn't be one of them when this guy is the best player or second best player on that team. So I'm locking in Travis Kelce, anytime touchdown score, minus 145. Next up, Trevor Lawrence, same game. Trevor Lawrence hitting the over, 245 and a half passing yards, minus 114. I'm locking in Trevor Lawrence. Last time these guys played, he had 260 yards in the air. All right. He's averaging 242. So that line's pretty close already. Throughout the entire season, Trevor Lawrence is averaging 242 yards. This line is at 245. So that's only 3 yards more. Plus, I think this game is going to get out of hand pretty quick. So they're going to be playing from behind the entire time. He's going to have to throw the ball. This is kind of the same thing that happened yesterday with the Cowboys and the Bucs and Tom Brady having to throw the ball 60 times just to try to beat the Cowboys, but he hit the over on his passing yards. That's what I see with Trevor Lawrence here. I would like to parlay those two, and if you do parlay with them, if you can, 100 to win $211. Not bad at all. Lock it in.
Sheesh. These are lock 3000s. Now, this Travis Kelce bet, this is looking crazy because it's almost like Vegas is saying it's obviously going to happen at minus 145. So we got a Travis Kelce anytime touchdown, Trevor Lawrence over 245 and a half on the passing yards. He had that in the second half last game. It's time to lock in some more picks. We got 2 more for you. And we're going to the Giants. We had Daniel Jones, a rushing touchdown at plus 220. I love this bet, and I'll tell you why. He had 17 rush attempts last game against the Vikings. That's a lot to be running the ball. He has 78 yards. He's in playoff mode. The coach is an amazing coach who wants him to do what he's got to do. We love Brian Dable. And I think that he's getting Daniel Jones comfortable and out there running if he wants to, but he needs to be safe. You know, that I feel like 17's too much, but if we're hitting like 11 to 15 rushes in a game, then you're using him. This is like great value Cam Newton, and I love it. We got plus 220, Daniel Jones rushing touchdown. We're going to hit the Bengals and Joe Burrow with the over in pass yards at 275. I feel like this is easy for Joey Burr. He's got Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Hayden Hurst, and they're already Joe Mixon and P. Ryan out the backfield. Even on the screen passes, he can hit this over. It's minus 102. He's averaging 280 pass yards per game. And he's thrown over 32 passes in the last 2 games. So I think he hits this line. He's going against the Bills. They're middle of the pack on pass defense. I say we lock it in. Daniel Jones rush touchdown. We got Joe Burrow over 275 and a half pass yards. Let's recap and lock them in one more time. Juke 'em Josh. Juju anytime touchdown plus 165. Josh Allen, 300 plus pass yards at plus 198. Big Flex X, locked in some good ones. Travis Kelce, anytime touchdown. We're looking at minus 145. That's automatic. We got Trevor Lawrence over 245 and a half passing yards at minus 114. And finally, I locked in the Daniel Jones rushing touchdown at plus 220 and Joe Burrow over 275 at minus 102. That's some amazing bets for this divisional round. Make sure you lock them in. Check us out on the Instagram because we are posting more coming soon.
Hell yeah.
I don't know if y'all heard Danny Dimes' new nickname with all his rushing attempts, though.
Uh-oh.
It's Vanilla Vic.
Sheesh.
I heard that. I was like,
wow.
that's the greatest one.
Vanilla Vic.
Vanilla
This guy's got all the nicknames. And now, it is time for our halftime show.
That was probably one of the best playoffs I've ever seen. But we saw some real craziness happen shortly after it. We've seen all of these players and coaches, not even players, my bad. All these coaches start getting hit up left and right. What do y'all think about, player or coaches being able to be reached out to in the middle of playoffs?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. One, I think it's okay if the coach isn't involved in the playoffs, but right now I'm a Cowboys fan. Everybody knows that. Right now, everybody's reaching out to Dan Quinn and Kellen Moore. Stop it. Let them lock in on what they're doing. We got a championship to win. Let them lock in on that, and then later reach out to them after they're eliminated. Reach out to them. But right now, while they're in, I hate it. Don't like it at all. Don't talk to my guy. He's locked in.
Shoot, if I'm them, phone's on Do Not Disturb, and I'm locked in regardless.
Big facts, yeah.
Personally, I've always found it to be, for some reason, some form of okay collusion by other NFL teams. I think they should only be allowed to reach out to coaches that are not in playoff contention. I think this really kind of takes the focus off of what they need to be focused on, which is ultimately winning it all. I think it's distasteful that they can basically request the interview mid-playoffs and they have to kind of entertain that because obviously they're looking towards their next path in the career. But I really urge the NFL to take this out of it and make it to where you're only able to reach out to them after their either playoff exit or Super Bowl win, just because it really does take the focus off the game. But speaking of coaches looking at new jobs, I don't know if y'all heard about what has happened with Cliff Kingsbury post firing. So
yeah, what's up with that? I heard about something, but I don't know what's the deal.
Okay, so basically, obviously, we all know he got fired by the Arizona Cardinals. Got paid.
He's out of here.
Yep,
he's taking a flight
to Bangkok, Thailand, with his girlfriend.
Hey,
and all these, other teams are trying to reach out to them. Panthers, couple others, and he was like, "Yeah, not really interested. I just got paid $40 million, and I think I'm going to enjoy my time off." Out enjoying the rest of the world. So, I like to see that a coach is willing to do that, knowing how much pressure comes with being the head coach of an NFL team. I still think he was unjustly blamed for the failures of Kyler Murray, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, that's what happened with Cliff Kingsbury. He basically told them all to F off. I'm enjoying my vacation.
Damn, hell yeah. Cliff Kingsbury released from the Cardinals, gonna release from prison. Come on.
Hey, it only took snitching.
Hey, Gunna's out, baby. He's back.
Hey, okay, but this is how it went. He had to go to the trial, and the judge was asking him questions, and his lawyer told him to just say, "Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir." So they were asking him, "Hey, was Young Thug in the car with you?" "Yes, ma'am." "Is YSL more than just a rap group?" "Yes, ma'am." So I don't know what's happening, and I don't want to tell on nobody. This is just articles.
My boy, a rat.
Dry snitching. He ain't saying anything. He's not saying anything, but he's saying everything,
Instead of people paying to go to his concerts, he's paying people to go to his concerts. Mm-hmm.
Damn, man. Catch
him and
6ix9ine hanging out in the next couple of weeks. They got to stick together, I'm sure.
Hey, he's free, and that's all that matters to him. But shout out, man. Shout out to Gunna. But I want to give another quick shout out. We're going to take it to college football real quick. Shout out to the national champions, Georgia, by the way. That was just back to back, baby. Let's go. But we have Tim Tebow introduced into the College Football Hall of Fame. Is this deserving? were the 2008 Gators the best ever? Or, I mean, how do y'all feel about Tim Tebow being accepted into this?
No, dope. He deserves it. He
Yeah,
deserves it.
I feel like, I feel like he does.
he definitely does deserve it. And on top of that, you know, the NFL really blackballed him because he was a Christian dude. You know, I love everyone's freedom of religion. You can do whatever you want, but this man didn't do anything wrong at any point on the field, and he was never given a real shot to be a good QB.
Yeah, he didn't really deserve one. I mean, he was given a real shot with Denver.
No, he was
yes,
not.
he was. Yes, he was.
He went to the playoffs with the Broncos.
He just wasn't that good of a QB. Like, you can't give somebody more than what they are. But Tim Tebow does deserve the College Football Hall of Fame for sure, because this guy was a beast over there. But one thing that we deserve as fans is a 30 for 30 on this 2008 Florida Gators team, because you're talking Aaron Hernandez, you're talking Tim Tebow, Urban Meyer. You got a Christian dude with all these other guys. You're just like, hey, yo, like, I don't know what's going on over there.
Dude, it was even more stacked than that, too.
Don't forget the Pouncey twins. The Pouncey twins also.
Oh, yeah. Bro, dude, a 30 for 30 right now would be great.
Yeah, no, we're definitely deserving of it. I mean, this is literally probably one of the most thugged out teams. And then you have it being
Tim
led
Tebow.
by a pastor. Yeah.
John 3:16. Come on, baby.
It's such a weird thing to see. But I would love to see it. And he's more than deserving of College Football Hall of Fame. He had a phenomenal college career. If you got to, you know, watch some of those games, granted, I'm sure there's some people that weren't even alive then now, because 2008 is really not that long ago, but it is really long ago at the same time.
2008 was long ago, but let's jump into 2023. We're kicking off the third quarter with a 2023 first round Gridiron Chuggers mock draft. Right. Come on.
Come on.
All right, guys. We're kicking off a mock draft this week. It's a way too early mock draft, first round, but we're knocking it out. Last year, we're going to let you guys know what happened last year, and then we're going to see how much it's changed since then and who we're going for this year. So let's go ahead and get this thing rolling. Last year, first overall pick. Can you guys guess who it was?
I mean, he shouldn't have been. He shouldn't have been.
There you go, JT. Yeah, he definitely shouldn't have been, but I don't think it was his fault. I think it's his offensive line that was beat up, and his terrible quarterback play, and just the whole thing, the whole team in general, just not good. Sucks for JT. He fell down pretty far on our list, but that was number 1 overall. Number 2, Christian McCaffrey, well deserved. Number 3, Austin Eckler, well deserved. 4, JJ, could have been higher. I mean, the way he played. And then Cooper Kupp at number 5. This is just like an approximate of how it kind of went, you know. But right. Cooper Kupp at number 5. That was a tough pick for many people, a.k.a. Josh.
I mean, worthwhile through a good 3/4 of the season.
No way. No, it was like a 1/4 of the season.
He wasn't out that early.
Yes, he was, bro. He was down bad. Yeah, he was. I swear he was. So that's Cooper Kupp at number 5. Number 6, Derrick Henry. This guy should have been a little bit higher after we kind of saw what he did.
Yeah.
Number 7, Najee Harris. Now this guy should have been a little bit lower. Joe Mixon at number 8. Number 9, Jamar Chase. Number 10, Dalvin Cook. 11, Alvin Kamara. And 12, Devontae Adams, the number 2 wide receiver. So that was last year's draft. That's how the first round went. So we're going to give you guys a way too early Gridiron Chuggers mock draft 2023. Come on.
Come on.
All right, here we go. You are now on the clock.
Jeez, this is exciting, bro.
Hell yeah. How do you feel, bro? I love that
I feel great. I love this time of the year.
The pick is in. All right, pick number 1. Lando, who you locking in?
With pick number 1. You already know I'm taking the number 1 running back in fantasy football and a top 15 wide receiver at the same time. We're locking in Austin Eckler. This is a guy who's unstoppable. He led the league in fantasy points without being a QB, of course. And also, he's one of the best receivers in the league. This guy was going out there and averaging like 8 targets a game. So next season, if you see Austin Eckler on the board at any point in the first round, you lock him in and you rock with Austin Eckler because he's the only guy on the Chargers who's consistent every game.
Hell yeah, rock with Austin Eckler, baby. My boy always plays the guitar too. Come on. Juke and Josh, you are now on the clock.
Well, man, this is not hard at all. He was probably one of the top 5 running backs to go last year, and he will be next year as well. And he's on an even better team now. Christian McCaffrey is my number 2 pick. He is both a running back and a wide receiver, much like Austin Eckler. If anything, I think he could potentially be more efficient in this new team with an actual coaching staff around him. Now, last year, he came in with 1,139 yards. Actually, this year, my bad, but I'm saying last year. It's weird. He was the 8th overall in rushing yards and came off of 244 attempts with a 12th place tying 8 touchdowns on the run. Now, you can't forget that this man is part of the passing attack as well. Let me see what his stats are real quick. There it is. He came in with 741 yards, and that was off of 108 receptions. So the volume is there. And on top of that, came in with another 5 receiving touchdowns. I mean, you can't look any other way between 1 and 2. It's either Austin Eckler or Christian McCaffrey or Austin Eckler. So it is
definitely. Yeah, these guys are definitely interchangeable. Number 1 and number 2. It just depends which way you like to roll, man. And, a lot of people have been fading Christian McCaffrey because of his injury history this year. He did not live up to that and stayed healthy throughout the entire season. Shout out to him. So we'll see what it's like moving forward. Next up, Big Flex X on the clock.
Sheesh, who you taking?
Pick is in.
I gotta get my list ready.
All right, got my pick. Here we go with the 3rd pick in the 2023 way too early Gridiron Chuggers mock draft. Big Flex X is locking in Justin Jefferson.
No, bro, I wanted him.
Let's go. I got to lock in JJ, baby. JJ is number 1 wide receiver in the league. We saw it on display this year, how great he played. He was out there making one-handed catches, out there scoring touchdowns, saving people's seasons, literally. I love Justin Jefferson. I think we all know what he can do. We all know his ceiling, or I'm not even sure if we've seen his full ceiling yet, because I think he could do a little bit better if it wasn't a quarterback like Kirk Cousins, as maybe it was a quarterback like, Justin Herbert or something like that. But, of course, we're not going to get that just yet. But regardless of that, if you still got Kirk Cousins back there, JJ's still going to be producing. He's still the best receiver on that team and in the league. Justin Jefferson, 3rd pick overall. That's where he's headed.
Yeah, if you don't take Justin Jefferson in the first round in the first 5 picks, that's tough. You just lost one.
I think last year, I'm going to put this out there. Last year, I was so nervous about all the running backs that were going off the board so early. Derrick Henry being one of them. Obviously, it was Christian McCaffrey that was worried about his injuries. You had JT, who was number 1 overall, so I couldn't even get him. But at number 3, I was sitting there, and it was either Derrick Henry or Christian McCaffrey. And I ended up going with Justin Jefferson. Now, I could have gone with Derrick Henry, but I went with Justin Jefferson, and it worked perfectly for me. So I'm not upset that I did that. And I think this year at number 3, that's perfect. Lock it in, Lando. You are now on the clock.
All right. This is going to be the 4th, right?
4th pick overall.
This is the 4th overall pick of the 2023 draft. And call me crazy, but I'm taking Tyreek Hill. I have to lock this guy in after the season he's had. But the thing is, he's been doing this every season. You're looking at 170 targets. That's with Teddy Bridgewater, Tua, and Skylar Thompson as his QB. The dude had 119 catches, which is insane. He has 1,700 yards this season. 7 touchdowns. This is crazy. I'm taking Tyreek in the first round, and if this is a PPR league, you take him right after Justin Jefferson's taken because this was the number 2 fantasy wide receiver in the whole league.
Hell yeah. So Tyreek Hill going at the number 4 overall spot. Juke and Josh, you are now on the clock.
Traditionally we take running backs for the first 5 picks. Or pretty close in most leagues, I would assume. But these wide receivers are really turning into dual threats throughout the entire league. And the one I want to highlight is only played half of the game. So he was only able to get 9 games out of the entire season. And he still put up amazing numbers. We're taking Cooper Kupp at number 5. Now, granted, he is going to be coming off of an injury next year, and there are some quarterback questions. But I want you to take a look at these stats. So over 9 games, he had 75 receptions, 98 targets, 812 yards, and 6 touchdowns to boot. So imagine he actually gets the other 9 games and doubles this value. This is going to be a steal because he's still going to have that premium target share. There's no one else to really pass to on that team. The question is, will the quarterback play be there for him to be as useful as possible? I think this is a steal at number 5.
Safe pick.
Not bad. Cooper Kupp, come on. Again, these are way too early. 2023 fantasy football NFL draft. All right, Big Flex X on the clock. Pick number 6.
We need a running back.
We need a running back. We need a running back bad. And I got to go with the guy that helped me push through at least half the season. And this is Derrick Henry. He literally puts this team on his back. I know he's getting older. That was a problem last year, but it didn't seem to slow him down. He was still out there putting up hella points, getting the monster numbers that he always gets. Derrick Henry at the 6th spot. I think that is an absolute steal. I'm riding with it. Lock me in. The King at number 6. Lock it in, Lando. You're now on the clock at number 7.
You see, number 7's tough. There's still a lot on the board. A lot of people have some really good seasons. But I'm going to have to lock in somebody who's just a dog. He's got that dog in him. He is him. And that's Davante Adams. The dude was the number 3 wide receiver in fantasy this season with 335 points. He was averaging 20 a game. So if you had Davante Adams, you probably rode into the playoffs. This dude was a monster with any QB. And guess who his QB was for most of the season? You won't believe it. It's Derek Carr.
Oh my God.
So, dude, here's the thing, man. It don't matter who Davante's QB is. He is consistent. First game, he has 17 targets, and that wasn't the only game he had 17 targets. So lock in Davante. Watch him catch those amazing passes that just gets you excited as a fantasy owner. Bro, he goes up and grabs most of them touchdowns that weren't even good throws. I love D. Adams, and that's why I got him locked in right here.
Boom. Locked in at number 7. Juke and Josh, you are now on the clock at number 8.
This number 8, I feel like he could easily go higher. We're taking the number 1 overall tight end because for some reason he falls slow. But
he does not stop.
He does not. He is the best tight end, I think, ever by the end of his career. He was number 1 in tight end fantasy points, number 1 in tight end touchdowns, number 1 in tight end receiving yards. This man is a monster. Travis Kelce had an absolute season, probably the best we will ever see from a tight end. I don't think I need to, really give much more info into that. He's number one.
Number one. And that is a number one, right? He plays like a number one wide receiver. I think he's more valuable, though, because he is in that tight end slot. And you know how hard it is to find tight ends? Impossible.
Yeah, we went with Mark Andrews in our big money league. I want you to realize how big the separation between him and the next tight end is. They had 100-point differential by the end of the season.
Oh my goodness. That is ridiculous. That's why you lock in Travis Kelce in the first round. Last year, I don't know what we were thinking. We got to keep him in this thing. Now, Big Flex X, I'm on the clock at number 9. And this is where everybody was wondering when this guy would go. When do you take him? Jonathan Taylor, JT, You're taking him number 9 this year. Look, he's not done, okay? He was put in a crappy situation last year with a terrible offensive line, got banged up a little bit, and then his quarterback wasn't any help. He actually had 3 different quarterbacks three different quarterbacks throughout the entire season and 2 different coaches. I mean, what's this guy supposed to do? He's still a great player. He's still, every time he touches the ball, he's still going to make a play. I love Jonathan Taylor. He's a great player, and the offensive line will get healthier next season. They still got Quentin Nelson over there. He's one of the best guards that we've seen.
Jonathan Taylor, he had a coach that never even coached before.
You got a coach that's never even coached before. So there's going to be a lot of shuffling around, but Jonathan Taylor is still going to be that main back. He's going to get all the carries. He deserves to, and he's going to have to carry this team into the playoffs or into a winning season record. And I think he's also going to carry a lot of teams into to the championship in fantasy football if you take him at number 9. Boom. Lock it in, Lando. You are now on the clock at number 10.
How could you not take JT in the top 10? That's why you lock him in at 9.
Yeah.
We have number 10, PPR. We got to lock in the receivers. I love the receivers in round 1 because that's the safest bet every time. We're going Jamar Chase at 10. This is somebody who didn't even play the whole season, had 1,000 yards, and he's still going. You look at this, man, and he put up 134 targets on the season. Last 4 games, 13, 11, 13, and 15 targets. So we're going into the next season thinking that this is Joe Shiesty. This is Jamar Chase. And if he plays a full healthy season, we're looking at a top 5 fantasy receiver next year. So this is somebody that if you're at number 10, snag Jamar Chase, man, because I think you should take him a little sooner than that.
Hell yeah. Juke and Josh, you're now on the clock. Pick 11.
So
it's getting serious.
11, there's still so many dangerous receivers on the board. It's insane. But the one we're going to take here at number 11 is going to be Stephon Diggs. He wound up being number 2 in touchdowns for a fantasy wide receiver, the overall number 4 fantasy wide receiver, and then 4th in fantasy receiving yards. So he's actually had an amazing season. Could potentially go higher, but this is where I take him given the amount of strength of the Bills offense. They're utilizing everyone and anyone, but he's still the main guy there. He had an amazing season. There was only 5 games where he was under 10 points. So he's going to be consistent, really bring in those yards. And then additionally is a PPR god. If you are in PPR leagues, had an amazing season with 108 catches.
Sheesh
Louise. All right, we're locking in pick 12. Big Flex X is on the clock. Here we go.
Last pick.
This is a hard one.
It's interchangeable.
And I had to make a little change here. It is a hard one, and this is definitely interchangeable. You have the rushing title winner, Josh Jacobs.
About it. You get to pick back to back. So why don't you just pick your 2 people?
Pick them both, baby. Look, this would actually be a finesse here because you're talking about all the wide receivers that are going to go this first round. I think the NFL has changed the way the style of the game is played. I think it's more throwing the football, and that's why these guys get this. That's why these receivers are moving up on the list. But it's still very important to take these running backs kind of early. But Josh Jacobs, the rushing title winner, you got to take him here at number 12. And if you're not taking him here at number 12, you're taking him at 2.1. All right, or number 13 overall. But Josh Jacobs, great pick. We saw what he can do. I am a little worried about the Raiders' offense, but at the end of the day, I think they're going to use him more because of what he did this year. We saw how electric he can be. We saw how great he can be, and he can get into the end zone. So I love Josh Jacobs. You got to take him here at the end of the first, and that's why he slid all the way down to the first. Even though he was a rushing title winner, you're still a little bit worried about him. You're not too sure. You're not too confident about it, and you don't know why it is. I think it's Josh McDaniels over there and the coaching staff that's not doing so great. But at the end of the day, he's still producing. Josh Jacobs can make a solid number one, but if you got to take him for a number 2 running back, that's even better because you still got the option of Saquon Barkley on the board. This is where I think you can take these guys back to back, and you got your running back set for the season. It's Saquon Barkley. I mean, you're watching him catch the football. You're watching him take a little bit less reps now. He's not getting the ball as many times. He used to get it 20 to 25 times a game. He's getting it 15 to 20 times a game now. But those 15 to 20 times a game.
He's like a early third rounder, maybe late second. Now he's going at the end of the first. That's wild. I love it.
At the end of the first, I mean, he stepped it up. And a lot of the thing was his injury proneness. But we saw him be healthy all season long. And this is because they're not forcing the ball to him. They're not giving him the ball every single play. They cut him back about 5 plays a game. But the games that they give him the ball are times that he can actually make a great play on the field. Before, they were giving him the ball on 3rd and 15, hand it off for a nice little draw. You get 8 yards. Cool. Now you're talking 2nd and 3rd, play action, screen to Saquon Barkley for a touchdown. Like, those are the type of quality plays that he's getting. This is why I like Josh Jacobs at 12, or maybe even into the second round in the first overall pick in the second round. So those 2 guys, we got to lock them in.
I do want to add one little caveat in there with the Josh Jacobs argument. We still don't know if he's actually going to be on this Raiders team. They haven't offered him a contract. It was the final year of his contract this year. So that's going to be a big thing to look out for as we get closer to the next season. Does he stay and get that contract? Because he's already said he wants to be there. But if the Raiders are not looking his direction after the amazing season he's had, what team does pick him up and really utilize those talents? And with Saquon, to add to your point, they changed it from quantity to quality of play. You don't want to wear out your workhorse, like X was saying. And Brian Dabble has definitely put Saquon in the position to be used efficiently and smartly. I love to see it. These 2 are interchangeable at 12 and 13.
Hell yeah. Let's do one last recap real quick for our 2023 way too early mock draft. We got Austin Eckler going at number 1, Christian McCaffrey number 2, Justin Jefferson right after that, Tyreek Hill number 4, Cooper Kupp at number 5, number 6, Derrick Henry. We are halfway done. Devontae Adams number 7, number 8, Travis Kelce, JT number 9, Jamar Chase at 10, Stephon Diggs 11, Josh Jacobs or Saquon Barkley at 12. That is your way too early 2023 mock draft. Now we got some guys that you want to stay away from. Our do not disturb, our do not draft DND. I got some spit on my face because I was going too hard on this. But Lando, let us know what we got.
We got the do not draft. These are guys that you need to stay away from. We're telling you early. Just go ahead and mark them off your list because this is somebody you don't want. We're starting out with Leonard Fournette. Leonard Fournette is on a banged up offense. Obviously, they couldn't get anything going all season. I don't know what's going to change, but I don't think Tom Brady's on this team next season. This is going to be a long shot for the Bucs to get back in this. Rashad White has been looking much better. Honestly, a little better than Leonard Fournette at times. So we're actually going to put Leonard Fournette on the do not draft because this is not somebody you want to rely on. He's going too early. People are going to snag Leonard Fournette because they're desperate for a running back. If you're listening to us, we'll have some sleeper running backs where you don't have to draft Fournette.
Yeah, absolutely. He finished the season at the 20th running back overall, which isn't terrible, but it isn't too great, especially from what we were expecting from Leonard Fournette and his draft stock. So he's ranked 20th, but right now, currently, I think we're looking at taking him he's ranked 33rd on this list that I have here. So you're not even looking at taking Leonard Fournette until like the 4th, 5th round. Even then, do you really want to touch him? I say I don't. I'm going a different direction here.
Sheesh.
Joshua's on mute.
Yeah, so they said they're taking him 2nd round.
I definitely don't take Leonard Fournette at all. It's not even him. Well, it is him. He's been terrible this season. But the other half of it is Todd Bowles is a terrible coach. He has really not helped this team at any point. And I think that's been the biggest issue here is that transition from Bruce Arians to Todd Bowles. We saw there was so many plays last night against the Cowboys where Todd Bowles just didn't make the right decision. And I think that's going to be an issue going forward.
Sheesh.
Sheesh is right.
Sheesh is correct. We got some more do not drafts for you. There you have it. We got Lenny at number 1. Stay away or draft him desperately after round 4. We're going to move on to Dak Prescott. Ended up here on the do not draft charts when last season he was actually a pick'em all over fantasy football. I don't think he is the answer. To me, it might be his quarterback rating. I don't know. But he turns the ball over and hasn't been clutch enough to be a fantasy. Now, he's looking good. The team has a good record. But when we're talking fantasy football, the interceptions and the turnovers are minus points. So do you draft Dak Prescott or are you missing out on him?
This is definitely a hard one because obviously we know Dak can go out there, throw 300 plus yards. Definitely doable. He's done it before and he'll do it again. But the issue I see is half of these wins are not even because of him. They're because of Cooper Rush going out there and having a 5-1 record while Dak was injured. Now, take into account Dak missed 6 games. Guess what? He's still 2nd in the league for turnovers. That's going to be a big issue and is what's going to hold you back on fantasy. Now, if you want to take a gamble, I think he's a good one to take a gamble on, but there's other quarterbacks I'm going to look to first before I even think about getting Dak Prescott based upon the numbers of this year and even previous years where he still turned over the ball a lot.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's quite a few guys that I'm taking before Dak Prescott. You got your top 3. You got Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts. But then moving forward, you still got Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Herbert. You're looking at all these guys, Lamar Jackson, even Kyler Murray. Even though he's with a different coach, playing different, but he's still putting up fantasy points. So there's a lot of guys that you can take before Dak Prescott. And like Lando mentioned, the turnovers are just way too much. Can't have it. I don't like it. His injuries didn't do him any good this year. There's just way more options here at quarterback than Dak Prescott.
Shit, Brock Purdy.
Brock is looking great. Exactly. So there's so many more options other than Dak Prescott. I don't like it. I don't like it at all, especially the way this offense is built. They play better when the run is working. If the run is not working, then Dak Prescott isn't working either. So They're going to run the football. They got to establish a run first. That's their game. That's why I'd fade Dak Prescott, D&D for sure.
Dak Prescott, D&D, stay away, don't draft him. We got one that's obvious. This is another guy on the do not draft list, Kyle Pitts, the 31st tight end in the league for fantasy football, and didn't break over 87 yards on the season. He only broke 80 yards twice. Kyle Pitts, how y'all feeling? I mean, this one sucked, man. He was a third rounder, and everybody thought they got a steal at that third round for Kyle Pitts. Where are we drafting him now?
I do not think about drafting Kyle Pitts. Do not draft D&D. That's why he's on this list. I don't think about drafting him. I don't want to draft him. I think it'd be a waste of a pick. If I do end up taking Kyle Pitts, it'll either be off of the waiver wire or round 15, 14. That's it. Nothing better than that. Nothing. I just can't do it. He's not ready. They don't want to give him the football. I mean, he's played very well when he has the opportunity to, but they don't give it to him. Either they need to figure out something over there to get him the football, but right now, I'm fading.
Yep, I completely agree.
I want to mention something real quick. Adam Rank, he tweeted out and said, "I'm back in on Kyle Pitts next year." I mean, like, what are y'all thinking? Is that crazy?
Yeah, that's absolutely bananas. Why be in on a person that doesn't have a guaranteed quarterback next year? Falcons don't even have a great draft pick because they played a little too well throughout the season. So we don't know what that quarterback situation is going to look like. On top of that, like X said, that coaching staff doesn't even use him. You know who they wanted to get the ball to? Drake London. That was it. That was the only person they wanted to get the ball to. And you have one of the biggest tight ends come in and do nothing. I don't see it in the cards based upon what was given to us this year. I need to see some numbers first, which means I'm not going to draft him. I need to see those numbers. I'm taking them off of a waiver wire so I don't waste a pick on, potentially a real star player.
Yeah, here's my thing. This is my rule of thumb right now. If I don't see any sort of value throughout the season, regardless of what all these people are saying of where the rank should be for these guys because they should be able to do this and they could do this, if I don't see any sort of value anywhere, and like Kyle Pitts, he has not proven anything to me, I am not going to draft him. I'm going to let somebody else take him. And if he does turn out great, good for him. If he doesn't, well, I'm glad I just finessed on that. But that's my rule of thumb. If you're not going to produce at least a little bit of anything throughout the season, I'm not taking you. So Adam Rank, regardless of what he says, he may or may not be right. I'm not going to touch it.
There you have it. Kyle Pitts on the do not draft list. We do have to remember he did undergo surgery to repair his MCL and did miss the rest of the 2022 season. So be careful. Be careful if you see him on the boards. We got another one for you. This one's tough. And we all had hopes at the beginning of the season. Now it's completely different. Russell Wilson on the do not draft list. This guy was a waiver the second half of the season. I am completely out on Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I think that's you and literally everyone else who's decided to bet on the Broncos this year. Not only was there coaching issues here, but Russell Wilson could just not get it together. He even had his defensive lineman coming up to him and yelling at him to, get it going. Where's the Russell Wilson we're paying for? He has had Jerry Jeudy stand up for him, but I think that's just wide receiver quarterback partnership. He's supposed to go out there and do that, but I can't even touch Russell Wilson with a 10-yard pole until this man shows me he's ready to win. He got that salary for a reason and wants to put up big numbers. But based upon what we saw this year, I think they wind up looking for a second quarterback.
Yeah, dude, what was wild is we had Geno Smith break Russell Wilson's Seahawks passing record in the first season as a Seahawk. And we're thinking,
wow.
Russ has been this great Seahawk all this time, and Geno comes in and throws for more pass yards in his first season. So I don't know, man. All the signs are pointing down. Big Flex X, what you got?
Russell Wilson, do not draft. He's on the list, and he's on the list for a reason. Do not draft. One thing I will let happen is I'll let somebody else draft him. I'll let somebody else drop him. And then I'm going to watch the way that him and his new head coach are going to coordinate. Do they get it done? Are they better? I've got to wait for all these answers to be answered, all these questions to be answered before I can go and pick up Russell Wilson. But I am not drafting him. I may or may not trade for him later on in the season, depending on what he does. But absolutely don't draft. Pick him up off the waiver wire if he's there. But that's it. That's probably as high as I go.
Sheesh. So there you have it. Do not draft Russell Wilson. Stay away. That is a nightmare. I tried it once and I won't do it again. We got another one. This is our last one on the do not draft list. And we're talking about Alvin Kamara. We are out. We decided that we are out on Alvin Kamara. He may be a late sleeper if he's there in the third round, but for me, he's on my do not draft list. And we look at this man, and he was the running back ranked 17 on the season. He couldn't get it going. He had his bursts here and there. Overall, a dud. And I don't trust it. I don't trust it with these QBs and these play calls. It looks like they're doing something different as soon as Sean Payton left and Drew Brees left. It's a different team for me, and Alvin Kamara's value is down. So where are you drafting him?
It's do not draft per his draft capital or per his ADP. That's what it is, because I like Alvin Kamara. I think he does a great job throughout the season. He hasn't been great. He wasn't great this season, but I think he still has potential. The only issue is that his ADP is just way too high. And
do you
that's the
draft
reason
him as trade bait?
Not even. I don't draft because you're not going to get the value that you want.
I draft him as a flex.
Exactly. Like if Alvin Kamara is there in the third round, okay, I'm thinking about it. But if we're talking second round, not even close. And that's where he's going to go. He's going to go in the second round. So that's why he's a do not draft. It's not because you don't draft him if he's there in the third or fourth round. I think you start considering it in the third and then you absolutely take it in the fourth. But if you're in the second round or third round, you have to double think. You got to think about it twice before you do that.
Yeah, I think there's just way better younger running backs available. I mean, you could easily look at the Texans running back. You've got Javonte Williams over on the Broncos. Breece Hall, if he's healthy. I mean, there's just too many other options, especially after the season he had. Now, maybe if some things fall into place, like a good quarterback, their overall offense winds up really getting it clicking because MT was out as well for a majority of the season, and that was a big issue. It really closes the width of the field and makes the game much smaller. So unless I see those key changes in this Saints team, I really don't want to have him as a number one or number two. If I'm lucky, I can get him in the fourth, and I look at him as a flex or potentially just, a bye week filler.
Damn. That's the do not draft list brought to you by the Gridiron Chuggers. You heard it here first. Let's hit a quick recap. Leonard Fournette at number one. We got Dak Prescott, Kyle Pitts, Russell Wilson, and Alvin Kamara. Stay away. Do not draft.
Stay away, baby. Hell yeah. But that is all we have for you guys this divisional round weekend. Make sure you guys follow and subscribe to us on YouTube and Instagram at Gridiron Chuggers. We're also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Click the link in our bio. It'll take you straight to a winning fantasy season, maybe even a bigger bank account. But one time for the one time, let's put our glass in the air. And chug, 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 chug.